daily Washington Nationals podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, everybody. Josh Neighbors here, Locked On Nationals podcast. Joining me today, it is the host of the Locked On Wizards podcast, Eddy Negro. Eddy, appreciate your time, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
It's the offseason. Officially now, it's the offseason. Last night, the Atlanta Braves won the World Series. So you and I are recording this on Wednesday, which means if you're in the DC sports scene, it's basically officially basketball time because the Washington football team sucks. Again, not shockingly, but the Wizards look like they're pretty decent. So before we get to the Wiz, just let you talk about, how did you come to host the Locked On Wizards podcast? Are you a longtime DC sports fan?
Oh, yeah.
Just kind of give people your background before we get going.
Yeah, so I'm a DC sports fan. Sadly, I love the Washington football team, but they've just been so awful. The Wizards look good. So I still have my YouTube channel. I do YouTube for the Washington football team. I just make videos and recaps of the games and whatever happens with the Washington football team. I did the same with the Wizards. And Locked On, they were watching me doing my YouTube, and they said that they watched me do YouTube for 3 years because I started doing YouTube in 2018. So basically all the DC sports. I did not do the Nationals, but I did the Wizards and the Washington football team. I did like Maryland Terps, Georgetown basketball, Maryland football. So I just did like any DC sport. I would just do it except for baseball and soccer. So I just love DC sports. I'm just happy the Wizards look good this year, and the football team, and it looked like they're years away. And the Nats, we won championship not too long ago. So yeah. I'm hoping the Wizards and football team can get it together.
Yeah, I think the Wizards might be a bit closer to getting it together than the football team. And a really nice start for the Wizards. And I want to start with this. You're a co-host for your podcast, or just you?
It's me and my co-host.
Who's the co-host?
Delonte.
Cool.
Yeah.
So you guys have a lot to talk about, and I will say this. So, a couple years ago, it was looking rough because people were thinking, well, what are they going to do with John Wall, right? What do you do with the contract? It was arguably the worst in basketball. They flipped that into Westbrook, and they flipped Westbrook into, a few really nice pieces. And if you watch the team last year, it was nice. They didn't really have any depth, though. That was the problem. The team had no depth. They're bringing in, Troy Brown Jr. and Isaac Bonga and this kind of Robin Lopez. So I'm not a big Robin Lopez guy, to be honest. I'm a huge Robin Lopez guy. And now this team has legitimate depth to the point where a guy like a Corey Kissbert, who's a first round pick this year, they're getting the minutes, but he's to fight for all of his minutes. This is a nice team to watch where it's I don't want to turn it off when the bench mob is in. That's kind of where I'm at with this team.
Definitely, yeah. Robert Lopez, he had the hook shot where he could not miss from the hook shot. Yeah. But yeah, Tommy Shepard has been a great GM so far, flipping John Wall's contract. Now he's with the Rockets, and they won't even play him because they just the whole situation. To flip that for Russell Westbrook, and then flip Russell Westbrook for 3 Lakers and Kuz, Montrezl Harrell, who's just been a beast so far for the Wizards. Kuzma looks like a way better player than what he was last year. He's averaging a double-double right now. KCP has been hitting threes, and then we picked up Dinwiddie. Dinwiddie has been great so far. We're 5-2. All those guys, they got chips on their shoulders because there were places last year where teams didn't really want them. The Nets, they brought in Kyrie, they brought in James Harden, and Dinwiddie wasn't going to get the playing time in the minutes that he really wants. And the same thing with Kuz. It's hard to play with LeBron. It's hard to play with Anthony Davis and be that third guy and just kind of be that sidekick. Now here he's getting a way bigger role. He's getting a starting role where he's getting more minutes and he's taking more shots. Montrezl Harrell said he felt like he had a year off with the Los Angeles Lakers, and now he's just been – the whole city of D.C. loves him. Ted Leonsis was wearing his jersey on the court side for the first home game of the season, and Harrell's hit a half-court shot that the team loves him.
Yeah.
He's averaging a double-double. him and Bradley Beal have great chemistry right now. If you look at their press conferences after the games, they're just like, just having a comedy show after the game. So the chemistry is great right now. I mean, Wes Unseld Jr. too, hiring him was a huge, looks like a big improvement from last year.
Yeah, it's just a lot more fun to watch, right? Like, and I mean, no offense to Scott Brooks, like it kind of felt like Dead Man Walking last year. Their defense was so bad; it was so unbelievably bad, and it's not 100% fixed. But I was watching the first game of the year, and I was like, "Wow, this is pretty refreshing." Like the offense isn't great, but like the defense is really kicking into gear that game. I thought they did a really good job, and so that's a change. Were you a Westbrook guy? I am not a.
I like Russell Westbrook. Of course, his style of play is it's tough. Lakers fans are kind of seeing it right now, where he's just up and down. But of course, however bad he plays, he's going to get a triple double. But I love the effort that he brought to DC.
Yeah, it just at his age, he still plays when he's at his best. He still kind of plays that way, right, up and down, and forcing the action,
right.
But like it's hard to bring that on a night-to-night basis as he kind of gets older.
Oh yeah,
and for them to turn Westbrook into three guys who do separate stuff, who bring an element of depth. I mean, those three guys have started multiple games,
right?
And like you traded one starter who I know it's Russell Westbrook. I know what people are going to say about him. Like whatever. But like you've turned it into three positions of need. They needed center depth, and Harrell has been more than center depth. I mean, he's been legitimately a awesome player awesome to watch, and he's a really good player. Wing depth. They needed wing guys, and Kuz, I guess, like he is a wing technically. I want to see him get in the paint a little bit more. I want to see him post up some. He's a very good rebounder. He's been off to a really good rebounding start, and then KCP obviously is that 3-and-D type guy. Like they turned it into three players at positions of need, and they all seem to kind of like playing in DC too. Like so far, I know it's early.
They do. The chemistry's been great. Like you said, the wing depth has improved. Isak Bonga had to get big minutes. At times, Raul Neto had to play at the 3 and the 4. He's 6'1". Ish Smith last year was playing the small forward position. So Bradley Beal had to play at the 4 at times. So it was rough, when Denny got injured and Rui got in foul trouble. We basically were just throwing out guys who were 6 feet, 6'2" and under playing at the wing position, guarding Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum in the playing game had 50 points. It was the easiest 50 points I've ever seen in my life. I mean, he's 6'9". He's shooting over Ish Smith and shooting over Bradley Beal. So this is just too easy. But now we actually have guys who can defend and play defense. The defense has improved a lot. Wes Unseld Jr. is a defensive-minded head coach. Daniel Gafford is a good defender. Even Trez has stepped up and got a couple block shots. Bradley Beal has been a better defender this year. Bradley Beal, his shot has been off. He's shooting 22% from the 3. But his defensive metrics and defensive win shares have been a lot better this year. So once he can get that down off, once he can start hitting his shots, I mean, we can be even better team. And guys haven't even come back yet. Like Rui is not here yet. Or playing yet. Thomas Bryant's not playing yet. So we got a couple guys who are missing, and we're still finding a way to win games.
Yeah, we're going to get how this goes. We're going to give a quick ad read in here before we keep going here on the podcast. Today's show is brought to you by our friends at Spotify Green Room. Go check them out today, guys. Go download the app. It's a great way to get in. Have you done this yet? Have you done the Green Room, Eddy? Have you interacted with the fans on Green Room? I
have not yet, but I definitely need to get
started. You need to because the NBA rooms, I'll tell you what, the NBA rooms on Green Room, they get pretty frisky. There is a lot of good conversation on there, but you download the app today on any iOS device. You can do it on your iPhone. You can do it as well on your iPad if you've got one of those too. You can download the app. You link it to your Twitter. People will follow you. They'll know when you guys will go live, stuff like that. It's very fun, so get involved. Spotify Green Room app today. They are changing the way that we talk about sports. So, Leah, with this new look Wizards team, like, what's been your favorite thing to watch this year with the Wizards? Generally speaking, if you want to compare it to last year, you can. But generally speaking, what's been your favorite thing to watch with this year's Washington Wizards team?
This year's it really has been Montrezl Harrell. We just have not had a blue collar tough guy play for the Wizards in maybe like 2 years. I wouldn't say too long. We had Nene who was mean and would get in fights, and Markieff Morris with the Death Row DC team. But I think we were just looking for a big man to just have that mean role. This that mean guy who's not afraid to get a technical foul and talk trash. And he's gonna get the crowd into. He's gonna get the crowd pumped up. He plays hard, man. He just has that junkyard mentality. He's fun to watch. He plays at 110% effort every time. He's actually really, in my opinion, become the heart and soul of the team. You know, Bradley Beal's more of a reserve guy. He's not going to really yell at other guys. He's not much. I'm not going to say he's a vocal leader, but he's not as vocal as some of the more vocal guys in the league. And Montrezl Harrell has stepped up and done that. But he's been super exciting, and just see them playing better defense. I think Trez has really been the best player so far out of the 7 games, because, you know, Bradley Beal hasn't shot the ball well yet, and Brad did miss a game, and we still won the game without Bradley Beal. So I'm excited to see Trez play every night. I know he's going to bring it and play hard every single day.
What do you think happens to the center rotation once Thomas Bryant comes back? I know Gafford was still in an injury. He's back now. Trez is, you know, do they want to bring him off the bench? They want to start him? Like, you know, I could see a scenario where each of these guys has, I mean, they all bring a little something different to the table. I feel like Thomas Bryant really had that pick and roll chemistry with Bradley Beal, but they haven't had it in so long, right? They haven't been able to you know, kind of get that. How do you see things shaking out with those 3 guys once the Wizards get everybody back healthy?
Yes, that's a good question. It's going to be tough because Thomas Bryant is the best 3-point shooter out of the 3 bigs by far. Gafford doesn't shoot threes, and Harrell doesn't shoot threes. So there's going to be a different dynamic that he brings, and more floor spacing. We have not really been able to shoot the 3 well, even as a team. You know, we got Davis Bertans, and he's our best 3-point shooter, and he's not even hitting threes really consistently, to be honest. So that would be different, and he's a good finisher around the rim. It's just defensively, Thomas Bryant isn't the best defender in the world. He's not a great shot blocker or paint protector at all, like Daniel Gafford is. Daniel Gafford is the best big man defender by far. But the rotation, it's going to be hard. Yeah, somebody's minutes are definitely going to go down. You know, Gafford's minutes might go down. Harrell's minutes might go down because you got to play all 3 of them and try to get them in there. That's why a lot of people say, hey, there might be a trade before the trade deadline. One of these guys might have to go. And it's a contract year for Thomas Bryant. He's a free agent in the summertime. Once the season is over, he's a free agent. Same thing with Montrezl Harrell. Gafford just got an extension. So I got Gafford starting. Even when Thomas Bryant comes back, I still think Gafford's going to start. Montrezl Harrell was the 6th man of the year. I think he loves coming off the bench anyway. So I think Harrell would be the first guy to come off the bench, and then Thomas Bryant would be the 3rd string center, which is pretty interesting because Thomas Bryant is talented. He's got talent. He can score. You know, he's good. He's a solid rebounder at times. But that's how I see it. And last year we had the 3-man rotation with Alex Lynn, Lopez, and Gaff. So
this is significantly better.
Right. It's definitely an upgrade. It's an upgrade for sure. And last year they would split. It would kind of be like 16 minutes here, 15 minutes for Lopez, and then 20 minutes for Gaff, and then maybe like 10 minutes for Alex Lynn. I could see it being like 20 for Gafford. And then Harrell's really got to get 20 minutes too. So this is tough. This is a tough dilemma here. They all are going to be fighting for playing time. So I could see they might have to do the 16-minute Harrell, 16-minute Thomas Bryant, and just see who's playing better. Because Gafford, sometimes he gets in foul trouble and he gets winded and gets tired easily. So it's a good question, man. I would say 16.
The good news is they have depth, but like it's a good problem to have. I mean,
it is.
Last year, remember they brought Alex Len off the street. I think he was a free agent when they brought him in, right? They had to bring him into play, and you know, and I actually thought he acquitted himself pretty nicely. I actually thought Alex Len was pretty decent last year. But like was never really a big Robin Lopez guy. That hook shot, it felt like he scored on every single time, but it felt like he had to commit an offensive foul where he elbowed the person in the face to help him clear his space to end up being the shot. But yeah, to have all 3 of those guys together, like it's a tough equation to solve for for Wes Unseld Jr., but like it's a good problem to have. Right. Kind of moving to the wing area, what do you think of Corey Kissbert, new draft pick, bring him in? Also, are we going to see any of Isaiah Todd this year at all? Funny enough, he's actually I'm in Richmond. He is a Richmond, Virginia guy, so just got to ask the question. Is because he's actually the other part of that Westbrook trade, right? I think he was the draft pick they got in that trade.
Yeah, he was the draft pick, yeah.
Yeah, and they ended up drafting Isaiah Todd, who was in the G League, I think he was. That's
he was from the G League Ignite.
Yes.
Yeah.
So are we what do you think about Kissbert, and then how much Isaiah Todd do we see on a pretty deep team?
Yeah, Bertans is not going to play against the Raptors, so that does give Kissbert an opportunity to have more playing time. Kissbert hit his first NBA 3 against the Atlanta Hawks the other night where we lost. He had 5 points, and he's more versatile than Davis Bertans. You know, he can dribble the ball. He can put the ball on the floor a little bit more. He's more of a passer and a playmaker. He can finish around the rim a little bit better than Davis Bertans. So I think Kissbert will get some more playing time tonight against the Raptors, I would say. He's got to get his feet wet and get more acclimated with the NBA game and the NBA speed too. But Isaiah Todd, I think he's going to be in the G League this whole season. Now, he has been on the bench. He actually did play against the Nets, and he scored 5 points. He hit a 3, and he hit 2 free throws. So he actually did score. He did play in a game. So congrats to Isaiah Todd on that. But I do see him being in the G League for the majority of the time. And I think that would be good for him. Definitely has to get stronger, get bigger. He's still young. What is he, like 20 years old?
Yeah, he's pretty young. He's pretty young.
Yeah. So he's from Baltimore as well. They had like an open practice in Baltimore, Morgan State. I think that was really for Isaiah Todd. And but yeah, I got him in the G League. I think Kissbert should have a solid season coming off the bench, and he definitely has a big opportunity tonight while Davis is out with the sprained ankle.
That's right. Yeah. So yeah, he is from Baltimore, and then he played high school some in Richmond, I guess, for a little bit. Then probably I think he left after that. But kind of one more thing on the actual roster itself, like the backcourt. So I think it's great now they can stagger. Like you can stagger Dinwiddie and Beal some, and you can make it to where I'll be honest, I do miss Ish Smith. My dad was Wake Forest, so I do have a little. I grew up watching him. I do have a soft spot in my heart for his reverse layups and his quickness. It just love that. But they have a luxury now being able to stagger that front, backcourt really well, and I kind of like that. Right, you don't just have to throw Dinwiddie and Beal out there at the same time because both those guys are ball dominant guys who Beal is a great moving without the ball, but like to make plays, he needs the ball in his hands, and Dinwiddie's very good with the ball in his hands as well. They finally have some depth. They can kind of stagger their two really awesome backcourt players in a way that it felt like Russ and Beal kind of had to play together. It was Russ feeding Beal right a lot of the time, and now it's like I feel like because they're both scorers, Dinwiddie and Beal, they can stagger that a bit more.
Oh yeah, I think this is a good fit where Dinwiddie gets to the free throw line a lot, and he doesn't turn the ball over much at all. He's actually top 10 in assist to turnover ratio. He's been a really good closer. He had a clutch floater against the Celtics in double overtime. Then he hit a couple clutch threes against the Pacers. So he can kind of make things easier for Bradley Beal. Bradley Beal doesn't have to worry about scoring so much and taking a whole bunch of shots because Spencer Dinwiddie can help him out. Same thing with the whole new guys that we bought in, Kuz, KCP, and Trez, they're going to help him out scoring wise. But Dinwiddie is a great floor general. He slows down where in the past we've had, point guards are super fast. John Wall's super fast. Russell Westbrook's super fast. But Spencer Dinwiddie has a different type of game where he slows it down, more methodical, picks his spots, it has a different pace to the game. So I thought Dinwiddie's been great so far. He had a double-double against the Hawks. Even though he lost, he played well, got to the free throw line. Is a solid. He's been really good from the 3-point line as well. So I do think that their chemistry is going to keep growing together as they play more, and I think they can be a dynamic backcourt duo.
One more quick word from our sponsors here. Today's show is brought to you by Built Bar. Go to built.com today. That's built.com. Check out all of the awesome flavors they've got available right now. There really is something for everybody, and also they're releasing new flavors every 3 to 4 days. You got to go there to check that out. Their bars are between 130 and 180 calories, only 4 to 5 grams of sugar, only 4 to 5 grams of net carbs, low calorie, low carb, low fat, high protein, all covered in 100% real chocolate. Once again, go to built.com today. That's built.com. Use the promo code LOCK15, LOCKED15, LOCK15 at built.com today. All right, Eddie, now is your time to plug the podcast. What are we working on? What can people kind of look forward to on a day-to-day basis? What kind of analysis? Where can we find the podcast? Where can we find you? All of those things. It is your time to shine, my friend.
Yeah, so you can follow us on Locked On Wizards on iTunes, wherever you can find a podcast. And then also we're on YouTube as well. We just started, I want to say 2 months ago, if that, probably less than that. And we got 700 subscribers right now. So it just shows how loyal the Washington Wizards fan base is and how excited the fan base is for our hot start at 5-2. You can follow us on Twitter at Locked On Wizards. You can follow me on Twitter. My Twitter name is right there. So we got a lot of big things coming. We're probably gonna do a mailbag question, where you guys can submit your questions on either Twitter or in our comment section on YouTube. We post daily, 5 days a week, and we do recaps. We try our best to do recaps on games that are on the weekends as well, like 10 to 15 minute recaps on the weekends for you guys. So it's a long season. It's an 82 game season, so there's gonna be a lot of videos and a lot of content. We're 7 games in right now. And the Wizards are looking good, man. The over-under for the Wizards was 34.5.
I thought that was way too low to start the year.
Right.
I thought it was way too low.
Right. And right now it looks like the Wizards can win definitely more than 41, 42 games. I'm actually starting to get a little bullish on the Wizards. I think they can win 45, and I think they'll be better than a play-in team, maybe like a 6th or a 5th seed. So my confidence is starting to rise on the Washington Wizards.
Love it. Eddy Del Negro, he is the host of the Locked On Wizards podcast. Eddy, we appreciate your time.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.